It's time for another episode of Raising Courageous Leaders by Mr. Bonnke Shipalana. That's my dad.
Hi, my name is Bonnke Shipalana and welcome to another exciting episode of The Power Within. Thank you for all the emails. You can keep them coming. Send them to powerof1@bonnke.co.za. Many years ago, a friend of mine once shared a story about a frog and a spider. A simple story, but an impactful story. One day, the spider wanted to move from one side of the mountain to the other side. Unfortunately, in between the two mountains, there was a river. He went down to the river and he looked around for a way to cross. The only way he could cross, according to him, was to hitchhike. He looked around and saw Mr. Froggy. He said, "Mr. Frog, please, can I just climb on your back and you can help me cross the river?" The frog looked at Mr. Spider and said, "Spider, you think I'm dumb? If I allow you on my back, you're gonna sting me." Mr. Spider said, "Come on, don't be that naive. If I sting you halfway through, it means both of us are gonna drown." Mr. Froggy thought about it for a minute and said, "Okay, you're right. Come." The spider went on the frog's back. Halfway through crossing the river, Mr. Froggy felt pain right at the back. He looked behind, realized that Mr. Spider actually stung him. He looked at Mr. Spider and said, "Spider, why did you do that? You know that we're both gonna drown." Mr. Spider responded and says, "I am sorry, but it's in my nature to sting. It's in my nature to sting." That story is quite important when it comes to our own life. The one question that I want to ask you today is, what is your nature? What is your nature? If you go and Google, nature is defined as an inherent feature, character, or quality of something. But I want to take it a step further and say that your nature represents the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. It's not about the thought itself. It's not about the feeling itself. It's not about the action itself, but the way you took it upon yourself to think, the way you took it upon yourself to feel, to come to that particular feeling or action. I mean, let us look at lockdown. For some people, lockdown means punishment. To some people, lockdown, time without friends. To others, lockdown, time with family. To others, lockdown, time to think. I mean, we're all facing the same situation, but the route that we took in order to understand lockdown leads us to a different conclusion. So the way you think is more important than what you think about. The way you feel is more important than what you feel. The way you act is more important than the action itself. Simply meaning that if you can control the way, you have control over the outcome. If you control the way you feel, you have control over the feeling. If you control the way you think, you have control over the thinking. If you control the way you act, you have control over the acting. If you control the way, you control your life. And that's why I get hurt when I see people being controlled by their feelings, being controlled by what's in their mind. I want to ask you one question today. What is your nature? During this lockdown period, take time to understand yourself. Take time to understand the way you think, not what you think about, the way you feel, not what you are currently feeling, the way you act, not your actions. If you put everything in this new bowl that we call their way, maybe you'll now have a better understanding into what Jesus Christ meant in John 14 verse 6, where he mentioned 3 key features which we should emulate from him. John 14 verse 6 reads as follows: I am the way, the truth, and the life. But guess what he started with? I am the way. Again, I ask you, what is your nature? Or let's rephrase it. What is your way? Thank you so much for joining me on The Power Within, where we raise courageous leaders.
Raising courageous leaders. Thank you, Dad. You better subscribe to the Power Within TV channel. Do it now.